Well, virtual queues are over. Some people are happy about it, and some people are mad at me. Also, the Flower and Garden Festival is starting this weekend. Food and wine in California is already happening, and so much more to talk about tonight on ParksCenter. Well, welcome to ParksCenter for today, March 2nd, 2025. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys, as always, for being with us. We appreciate you. And thanks for DVRing the Oscars so you can hang out with us instead. We appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV for more great content. And, of course, we want you to give us a thumbs up as it helps people to find us. We have a very interesting show for you tonight, folks, and starts with Desi.
Hello, bright suns, everyone.
Yeah, I don't think you're where you're trying to make people think you are. That's what I think. Ron, Tiana, what's going on, Ron?
Hi, nope, I'm not Patrick, just tagging in today.
You know what? That's fine. Patrick, Debbie was sick, so the union sent Ron. And
yeah, they have to keep New England people in.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is a rare treat. This is rarefied air. You know him, you love him. From News Tonight's Newlywed Game, it's Kev. How are you, sir? Uh-oh. Are you muted? Are you muted? Are you muted? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Now talk.
Hello.
There it is. Right. Yeah. Anyway, so for those of you that don't know Kevin, he was on News Tonight a couple weeks ago. And Kevin, you hurt my heart because it was a year or two ago when you and I met and you said, dude, if you ever do a ParksCenter After Dark, I'm your man. I'm going to be there. It's going to be awesome. And then all of a sudden I see you show up on Tom's show. What the heck, dude? What's happening?
Oh, it's simple. He asked.
Okay. Alrighty.
We've been talking about it, you're right, for about a year or two. And I said, when you do it, and you haven't yet. So that's why when Tom asked us to do it, I did it. And the rest
I feel like
history,
this was your contract negotiation, wasn't it? You're playing hardball, my friend, and I gave in. I had to have you on. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, sir. So let's talk a little bit about this tonight. The first thing is virtual queues, because it's so funny to me. It seemed obvious when they stopped using the virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy and Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It seemed obvious to me that it was time, especially for Guardians. It's been forever, and I've had this long-standing feeling that this was artificially inflated, that people just got a virtual queue at 7 a.m. or 1 because they felt like they had to, because it was going to be their only opportunity. And so I was excited about it, and I actually posted something on Twitter, and somebody was like, why would you want to stand in line for an hour if you could have a virtual queue? And I'm back saying, well, I didn't have to get up at 6:55 a.m. on my vacation, or I didn't have to, miss the button at 1 o'clock and then decide I can't ride it at all. You can ride it multiple times. So I'm like a big fan of the idea of let's make this process of Disney less complicated, that requires certain kinds of passes and park reservations and lightning lane premier and multi-pass and single pass. I like that it's a little bit easier now that they've gotten rid of these queues. The only queue in any app that I've seen currently is for Disneyland for World of Color. That's fine. That makes sense. But I want to start and go around the horn. We'll start with Desi, because I feel like, Desi, you had a different concept of it, because I feel like you were in chat the other night and you said something along the lines of you're like, well, for my family, I want to go ahead and keep everybody on virtual queue because it works for me.
It does. It works a lot better for me to have the virtual queue. At least when it comes to Rise the Resistance, I went on that a lot more when it had virtual queue than I do now. Because I've got little kids, they aren't tall enough to ride these big rides. If I do standby, then one of us is with two kids by ourselves just sitting there for an hour and a half plus, while the other one is just standing in line by themselves. So that makes no sense to me. Virtual queue seems like it's a lot easier to plan out your day. If I didn't get up at 7 a.m. and do it right away, I still had the opportunity to do it at 1 o'clock. And I think maybe just because for me, as an annual pass holder, like it's just easier for me to get in and do the virtual queue than to have to, you know, stand in line forever.
Okay. All right. Well, but here's the thing, though. Stand in line forever. The person at the time, and I pulled up the wait times at the time. The person at the time was like, "Well, I'd rather use virtual queue than wait 60 minutes." Well, just virtual queue didn't mean that you were like you stepped through the doors of the Xandar
Right.
experience and you walked right on the
But
attraction. There was still a good
it's
10 to 30 minutes.
it's
I've had
definitely
45.
quicker.
Well, if you finish, Desi, we'll move on.
It's definitely quicker than standing in a regular standby line.
Okay. Well, Ron, what were you going to say? And then we'll come
I've
back
had
to Kevin. I think, Kevin, you need to bat clean up on this one. So hang on.
I think it's a bit of a difference when you're local and you're down on vacation. If you miss those virtual queues and you've only scheduled one day in the park, you're out of luck. I think giving people that option is still the good thing. Like the the balking number at a queue is an important part of crowd management in a park. It's like, oh, I could wait 45 minutes for that. I'm not going to wait an hour for that. That's a choice someone can make at a time. You can't make that at 7 in the morning, or if you miss that 1 o'clock. Um, and even so, as I said, I've waited a good 45 plus minutes for Guardians through the virtual queue. So it's not completely reducing the line, and you still have no idea when you're getting in the line or walking over to your virtual queue how long it's going to be. So I think this evens things out, and it makes it the way, you know, you can make the choice at the time. You don't have to pre-plan as much. And there was just there were too many types of queues, and this simplifies it.
Yeah. Okay. Kev, tell me your thoughts.
I kind of see both sides of it, where uh, people who want to continue to ride, and I can only speak to Rise or Guardians because I haven't been on Tiana's yet. Uh, but I think for people who want to ride Guardians uh, more than once, I think getting rid of the virtual queue is a good thing for them. They can go out multiple times if they're willing to wait whatever the wait time is. The other side of it, having the virtual queue, is that I have seen, unfortunately, parents or seniors who are not accustomed to doing their homework, or seniors in particular who don't have smartphones, who want to go on the ride but uh, lack the knowledge of technology to get on the virtual queue at 7 a.m. or 1 o'clock. And, so you just see the sad faces that it kind of ruined their day, maybe hopefully for just that moment, not the entire day, that they couldn't get on a big ride like that. So I don't know. I'm kind of either way. Um,
Yeah,
I've I've
I think
I've waited for a little while, and I've not waited for a little while. So I think it's just you kind of pick you know, you pick a day that you think is going to be good to get on, um, and you hope for the best. We were at the park yesterday, and I saw that queue go all the way back between um, the two buildings over there. I think it's with the Creations and or Connection, whatever it is. I don't know, and the Guardians building itself.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm thinking like, well, that's not a line I would want to stand in today.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Desi?
I was just going to say that, virtual queue for a family visiting might be hard, but just for me and my family, because we know the ins and out of the virtual queue and when to get on and when to, request it, I think it works out better for us. But I can see
Yeah.
how it would suck to be a family that you're there for your one trip and, you don't get in.
Well, I told this story before, is that when Rise was the thing that you had to wait for, I remember seeing a woman walk up to Hollywood and Vine, to the girl who was working the podium outside of the restaurant. Had nothing to do with Rise in the least, but it was like, oh, hey, there's a victim, cast member I can talk to. And she came and just unloaded on her about about the fact that her family came from Denver and they brought the whole family and they wanted to ride this attraction that Disney had kept, hyping and advertising. And she would, she got into the park and realized that it was too late, that she couldn't ride it. And, I think that if it's something that you want to ride and you can wait for it, I think that that's great. I love that Rise is off of virtual queue because I remember standing at the front of the park and, the voice coming over the loudspeaker at Disneyland saying, okay, it's almost time. And then you're like, trying to do this and you're like, crap, well, I'll try again at 1 or not. And even if you tried again at 1, sometimes you would get a return time that was like 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. And you're like, well, wait a minute, I got a ballast point that I got to get to. I'm not really sure I got time to sit here and wait for.
Yeah, if I have a ballast point appointment, hey, Rise is off the list. I'm going to Ballast Point.
I actually think maybe like dining has been a lot more available lately whenever I've looked. And I've heard from people down there that there's a lot more just empty tables in the restaurants. So I wonder if part of getting rid of these is people going, well, I'm not going to make a dining reservation because I have no idea when I'm going to get on a ride. So trying to eliminate that with like being able to pick your times better, with the current lightning lane situation, and getting rid of these fixes some of those issues that they may have been having beyond just, pricing and stuff like that are still going to be issues. But, eliminating any obstacle to that you can help that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a good point because someone standing in a queue line for an hour or longer is not spending money in the park. They're just not, because they're in a queue line. And, Disney is all about, selling their merchandise and so forth. So, I think on that side of it, not having the virtual queue helps them with their fiscal, part of it, where people will spend money. Say, okay, hey, I can come back at this time. We can go do this. I can go grab lunch. I can go buy the kids whatever, and then return, get on the ride, and have a good time with that.
Yeah, I also think that if this didn't work for Disney's best interest, they wouldn't do it. There's an expression called "the house always wins," and I feel like whenever Disney does something like that, they do it for a good reason. I did see a lot of people say, "Oh, this is just a cash grab for them because they want you to have to do Lightning Lane, the single pass Lightning Lane," and I'm just like, are you going to sell more of those? They sell out anyway. So I'm not really sure we're going to see that people, that sell out. But again, this is an attraction that's been open for a couple years, and it was still on. Like Web Slingers and Mickey's Runaway Railway at Disneyland, both of those went off like in no time. They were there for a minute, and I think that was the original intent of a virtual queue back in the day of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Is like, let's make sure that that we can limit how many people come in and out. Now, Disney. Go ahead.
And I think that's a good point. I think something new. I think having it does help at a certain point there, despite the other problems. But because yes, you do get those ridiculous first couple weeks queue. I remember the first time I went on Indiana Jones Adventure in '95. The line was out past the castle. Like we wrapped all the way around the hub. So things like that you need it for, but not, how long has it been on Guardians now? Almost 2 years?
Yeah, it was whenever it opened in April of 2020? No, 2022? I think it was like 2022, 20. It's been at least 2 years. Well, are we good?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I'm sure we'll continue to talk about this, especially as new attractions open up again. They'll probably do virtual queues. There was rumor, because of what was said inside of the app for Epic Universe, that Epic would open with virtual queues. We kind of thought, or the virtual line, which I think is a little bit different. But anyway, the virtual line for those things was listed, and then they removed it. So we don't know exactly what they're going to do yet. I bet they will do it based on what the demand is. And so rather than what Disney did, I guess, I don't know. It's like if those people are standing in line to wait in line to ride that attraction, then yeah, they're not doing other things, but at the same time, they are there and they're not everywhere else as far as like people eaters. That's one of the things we talk about a lot is like, if you're in a park where half the park is closed, then everybody's in line for something. It gets a little nasty. So, again, I'm sure we'll continue to have debates about that. But before we move on, I do want to say we have a super chat, and I want to bring up. So let's see if I can. There it is. And our super chat is from our friend Jungle Cruiser. Hello, ParksCenter. I saw Tom and Eric at DCA on Saturday. I welcomed the Magi of the East to our parks at Disney. Desi, I love your new studio. How goes the search for Kylo?
For the order.
For the order, indeed. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jungle Cruiser. We appreciate you. I'm glad you had a chance to hang with the kids out there in DCA. I know they're out there talking about or looking into the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival. But we're going to talk about first the Flower and Garden Festival that starts this week. Honestly, like, I'm a huge fan of the Flower and Garden Festival. I think I mentioned that before. It's not my number one. My number one has always been Festival of the Arts since it existed. But before it existed, I was a pretty big fan of this one. It opens up on March 5th. We already have seen some menus from it. We've seen that they also have started doing a couple other of the offerings that happen for it. It's going to be very interesting to see what actually comes out of Communicore Hall, what that looks like this time. But when it comes to the food, again, they've released flower and garden menus. It doesn't change too much from year to year, but there's that. Then we also got to look at the pass holder merchandise, which is very interesting and cute, but probably not for me. I do love that they do the overlay where they put different pieces inside of Living with the Land and keeping that one an interesting addition. And then they've got this. So this is something I didn't talk about last week. The Beach and Yacht Grub outdoor kitchens. So they've themed these for the Yacht and Beach Club. And then in between, instead of Storm Along Bay, they have Play Along Bay, which isn't that adorable. So again, we're excited to see that is going to be opening up this week. And Desi, do you like this one? The playgrounds when I had little kids, that was like a great addition.
Yeah, we went last week, so we got the Festival of the Arts, and it felt like it was kind of like getting 2 for 1 because they were already putting the topiaries up. So yes, I do love Festival of the Arts, but I also love the Flower and Garden Festival. Probably my favorite part is the butterflies. That's just my favorite thing every time I have to do when we go to that festival. The playground thing. By the way, my kids are tall enough now to ride Mission Space. We did the green, not the orange. It was their first time riding it. And at the end, there was a playground. I'm like, I had no idea this was here. This has probably been here since it opened. No idea it was there until now. Never something I looked twice at. But we spent a ridiculous amount of time in that playground. And, it is something that I think is beneficial for people with young kids to have a lot of those playground areas. I do prefer the one in Mission Space or the one like by Dumbo where it's indoor and air conditioned versus like the Boneyard, which was outside in the heat. And I had other problems with the Boneyard, but just having that space at all, I think will be great. And my kids will love running around in it.
Yeah. Kev, I assume that since this may be your first flower and garden where you've actually been in Florida, so I'm assuming that your wife has already established when you will be attending the Flower and Garden Festival. Are you going to be there opening day?
Yes. Well, no, I'll be at work. My agent will dictate my presence there when she sees fit. Usually that means she's got to load me up on an edible, so I'm not grumpy through the entire park, which is always fun for her as well. But we were there, like I said, we were there yesterday. Saw some of the topiary. I did like the butterflies. Being from LA, even in Hawaii, to me the topiaries are always living plants that they cut the bushes and stuff like that. So of course, me being me, the first thing I told Allie was, "Oh, they're fake plants. They're like they look like styrofoam made stuff, and they're not actual plants." And of course she gave me the look and said, "Hey, just enjoy what it is. You don't have to have a comment on it, but they did look very nice, and I'm very impressed with what they did."
I love that she has to treat you like a child, and the fact that it's like she has to like give you your medication before you go. She probably knows when it's nap time so that she can get you out of there before you get too grumpy. That's I love that. That's a great. And by the way, I said we have a kind of an informal thing where I ask people what they want to talk about on the show, and under your column on this, it says "Yay plants." Was that her? Or was that you?
Oh, that was definitely her. Not 100% her.
Gotcha.
Like I said, I like the topiaries that they have. I mean, they're cool. They're for Disney, it is what it is. I mean, and when we were talking about that, she said, be careful because you call things fake, and I said, well, that fake name place at the new Polynesian Hotel. I can go into detail about that later, but
yeah,
you
We may
can't
save
just
that for
name
post-show
something
content.
yeah, you can't just put two Hawaiian words together and then make it something that it's not really part of the Hawaiian language. But that's for later.
That is so weird that they would make the Hawaiian stuff fake, but they have real France, Germany, Italy, Canada. Like those are real though, right? At Epcot?
I would assume so. Yeah,
Perfect.
I mean, I'm not from France or Germany, so I can't.
You can't
on their
speak for
culture.
them. You know
Right.
what? I'll let you speak for them. No, I'm just kidding. Don't speak for them. Ron, anything else on this before we go on to the next topic?
No, I'm just surprised that this is the year they do the Yacht and Beach Club when it's a construction site at the real one. Like, why are you trying to advertise that right now when there's jackhammers going off when you're walking around there?
No, that's a good point. Yeah, Stormalong Bay is not a bay currently, so that is true. But the other thing that's happening, and it's already started, and we talked about this, and again, Tom and Eric are out there in California doing food and wine reviews as we speak. Is the California Food and Wine Festival? I mentioned last week that I love this festival. I've only been to it once, and again was there with Allie, and she showed me the ropes. But there is already. We have on our website that there is a full schedule of artist signings, which I didn't know that was a thing out here, so I must have missed that. But artist signings for this event, and then also there is a full list of the menus with prices on them that are going to be out there, so you can find that at wdwnt.com. Now, one of the other things that I sort of dig about this is this sip and savor pass, which is very similar to like just buying like the food and wine gift card or at Disney World. Is you buy this pass and you go around and you kind of just, it's like a punch card that you've prepaid for your meals. But the other thing that they've kind of basically trolled me with here is that you can buy this gift card as long as you put $100 on it, you can get a pin. I'm sorry, free pin, you say? I'm all about that. But Kev, let me go to you on this one first, because again, having spent a lot of your life in California and going to Disneyland, do you feel like this one is kind of like a destination thing for people, or is this just like, it's a neat thing to see if you just happen to be there?
I like it a lot. I think it would be a destination for people going to Anaheim and going to DCA. That the food is really good. I know we've bought the Sip and Savor pass before, and I will say this, and Rob, you'll understand this when I tell you. I like the atmosphere there. I like the food there so much that I have even left Ballast Point to go into the park to get food and came back with it. So those, yeah, exactly.
I don't believe you. You're
I don't
lying.
do that. People who know
You're
me
lying.
know once I'm parked at Ballast Point, I'm there for the duration. Actually, I do hold a record there of being there for 11 hours straight. So
11 hours straight. Wow.
11 hours
Okay,
straight.
all right.
Yep.
Well,
That was
I
a busy
mean,
day for Allie. She had to do some stuff on the blog, so I just sat there, and it was a great time.
Okay. Well, if you did not know, tonight's episode of ParksCenter is brought to you by Ballast Point, Anaheim. Ballast Point. When you're in Anaheim, please swing by. Tell them Kev sent you. Ballast Point. Ron, have you been out for this Food and Wine Festival out in California?
No, I'd love to get out to California when it's not July or August at one point, but that's just the way my schedule has always been.
Right.
So never got there. But I know, like, I was looking at the menus and they look a little better to me than like some of the food festivals we get. But I know they have to try harder with their counter service usually. So I guess that's part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, I agree, and
Yep.
I've said that before. Is it's a little bit upscale in comparison. Although, again, the one thing that I always talk about is the mac and cheese, peanut butter and jelly mac and cheese that literally
So
have peanut butter,
gross.
jelly, macaroni, and cheese. The cheese was actually in there, and Pop Rocks, because why not? But they really do. I feel like they were like spun a wheel just to see what was going to go in that one that time. It was just like, it could be whatever. It's fine.
Sounds like something Elvis
Um,
would have eaten.
I know, right? Well, just
It
because,
does.
peanut butter, I guess.
Well,
Also,
it
by the way,
is
before
it
what?
is an interesting taste. I will say that because
Yeah,
we had to try it.
there was something
It
else
was
that
it
was
was
like
interesting.
in a popsicle form. It was like avocado popsicle or something weird like that.
Oh
I
yeah, I
would
believe it was
rather
like a
eat that.
guacamole stick. Yeah, it was like a
Yeah,
guacamole
yeah.
stick. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like shaped like a popsicle and should not have been a thing, but I got it and
Yeah.
took a picture of it, and in true form of any Instagram person, took a picture of it, took a bite of it. It was horrible, and I threw it away. So, but I do love the merch this year for Food and Wine. I think that shirt is very cool. So, and then the pin is cool, and they also have the lug bag out there. So, so far, like I think this festival wins as far as merch goes, but we'll see. Let's
You
move
know,
on to. Go ahead.
I was going to say to Ron's point about the food that they have to try harder. Definitely DCA and with Disney, more so DCA because they have the festivals there on that end. They do have to work hard and make it better simply because they have to rely on the locals coming into the park on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to here where you're going to get a lot of visitors um, from different states and of course from Europe and so forth. So, not to say that Orlando doesn't try that hard, but when you only have two parks in California, they do have to step it up because when during downtime, if you don't satisfy the locals, they're not going to come. They're not going to come to the park or downtown Disney at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they get bored, which I know that there are times when the locals are like, oh, Disneyland again. But if they ever get bored, tell them to go to Ballast Point. Ballast
Go
Point,
to Ballast
Anaheim
Point.
again. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so let's move on to talk about 90s night because they do a lot of cool hard ticketed events at Disneyland, and again probably because they need to step it up for the locals, but they do a hard ticketed night for Star Wars. They do they've done the Sweethearts, which sold out, and now the 90s night, which it looks pretty amazing to me because again the Disney afternoon. I'm going to go to you first one on Desi for this one because I feel like you're a 90s gal, but the list of 90s night characters: Darkwing Duck, Huey, Dewey and Louie, Launchpad McQuack, Rescue Rangers, Chippendale, Fat Cat and Monterey Jack. That's kind of awesome. Baloo and Louie. Pocahontas. Oh boy, Kevin. Pocahontas and Miko. Belle and Beast. Clopin, Esmeralda, and Phoebus, which is from the Hunchback. Look it up. And Indiana Jones and the Phantasmic Monkeys. The thing, and Desi, I think we may have talked about this before with the Indiana Jones. Like, it seems like a no-brainer, but it's basically any good-looking guy with a hat and a leather jacket is Indiana Jones, I feel like. But do you look at this and go, man, this is something I'd like to go to?
Yeah, what the heck? I mean, I love Star Wars. I love Disney's couples. I freaking love the 90s. Why can't we have any of this stuff here? I the one thing that they're missing, if they really wanted to make 90s night perfect, they
Don't say it.
need
Don't
a
say it.
Brink Soul
Ugh.
Skater show. You know it's true. Yes, the best decom there has ever been. Brink. They need an inline skating soul skating show. One more thing I just wanted to say was, who would be so ridiculous to buy something like like a gift card that they had to put $100 on just to get a free thing. That's crazy.
Okay, so
Who
that's
would
the
do
thing
that?
from
Who would do
Galaxy's
that?
Edge. I feel like I have two of those, and I can't remember if I ever used the money I put on them. That's the scary thing. Like, I'm like panicking right now, trying to figure out, did I use those? I don't know if I did.
I used it on
Yeah.
the Star Cruiser to feel like I was in character.
Well, of course you did. Yeah, you definitely want to do that. Before we move on, I do want to say we've got another super chat I want to mention before we go any further. It's very important. It's from the Drama Factor. It says, "Hey Desi, oh hey Rob." So
Hi.
thank you so much, Trauma Factor, for being a part of Park Center, and for that particular one. And Kev, Ron, it's nothing personal. I swear. It's just that the Trauma Factor is a big Desi fan, and then also I beg for some attention. So it's fine. We're all good here. Kev, did you ever have to go to any of these specialty nights when you were out there? Get to. I didn't mean have to. I meant get to.
The one that we did go to was Star Wars. Once with some friends and who are huge Star Wars fans, and they had a good time. It was a lot of fun. I haven't been to any of the other ones. I know Allie's been to the Halloween thing. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with the names of the stuff.
Oogie
You know
Boogie
what I'm
Bash.
talking about. Oogie Boogie Bash. I should remember that one. And that's one she always told me I'd need to go to. Work schedule just never allowed me to go. But yeah, Star Wars is the only one I went to.
I think that the answer to that is you just quit your job and you just hang out in the parks all day. Like, I don't understand the problem. But let's
I
move
would
on.
love to have done that, but
Let's move on. We'll talk about plastics because this topic and the last topic they collide because there's going to be at this event the Powerline Max popcorn bucket. And my wife, the first thing she would say about this is, how in the world would you fit any popcorn in that? That is ridiculous that they tell people this is a popcorn bucket. To that I say, but it's Max's Powerline. That's really all you need to know about this one is it's Max's Powerline. Ron, I think you did the review with me on a Goofy movie, and so did Desi, right? Did you guys both do that one?
I don't remember if I did, but I
I did.
loved that movie.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah. So would you go out? You said you haven't been to the DCA Food and Wine, but would you go out to get a Powerline popcorn bucket?
If I was there, I would definitely be getting it. I mean, I buy Laurel every Powerline shirt I ever come across. But yeah, I think it's a cool bucket. I love that they've been leaning into it so much lately, but I don't want them to lean into it too hard. I think this is the good amount of stuff. Don't keep pouring it on and making it something weird. But yeah, that's a cool popcorn bucket, but it looks more like a sipper, to your point earlier.
I know, right? It really does. It looks like it would hold a ridiculously small amount of popcorn. The other thing about plastics is that, in conjunction with the Food and Wine, is that I believe that if you purchase the Sip and Savor Pass, you get this ridiculous thing, which it's so stupid looking, and I want it so much. That's the thing, is it's so dumb looking, and I want this. I mean, this DCA like whole map is awesome, or it's Disneyland. It's not just DCA.
Why are the
This-
holes?
To put wine
for
glasses
drinks.
in.
For you put the
yeah,
drinks.
for drinks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so you carry it around. I know you're used to eating your Food and Wine on a trash can, but there's actually you have the ability that you could take this little tray, put the food on, put the two drinks in there, and have a little share session. And I know there's two holes here, so I don't know if you're if you're double fisting it when you're drinking, Desi, or if you would share that space with your husband, or how that would work.
No,
I don't know.
My kids eat off of Mickey Mouse plates almost every night, but that's where I put the ketchup in one ear and their vegetables in the other ear.
So the first thing you look at with this is there's no room for condiments. Obviously,
I
that's the problem.
Gotta mix it all together on the same plate. My
Yeah,
kids will not
that's
stand for
crazy
this.
talk. No, not at all. And I've said over and over again that I never want to, I already have a popcorn bucket problem. It's not a problem, it's a solution. I get them. But
No,
then
it's a problem.
Okay, good. No, you've lived it. I
And
know.
I can say that because we brought them back from California. So
Yeah, no, I get that. Don't tell all my secrets, Kev. So, but I have rules. And Desi, you and I've talked about this. How like you don't buy them from like the store. If there's like a shelf full of alien
No.
sippers, in the Toy Story gift shop, you don't buy the little green alien sippers. But if there was like a little green alien popcorn bucket that was only available at the stand outside, well, you have to have that because it's limited edition. But the
Obviously.
movie theaters have really been getting into this, and so they had a leak of this Snow White popcorn bucket that looks like it's from the live action movie, but it looks like the gems. But each one, like, you have to get all five. You have to collect all five. There's a red one and a purple one and a blue one and a green one and a yellow one. See, this is where I would
There's
go.
only 5?
Bananas. I know you.
There's
Well,
$7.
maybe there are more. This is a leak. We don't know about that. But the other thing that I wanted to point out here is that there is a Club 33 for the anniversary of Indiana
I want
Jones.
it.
There's a Club 33 tiki. You need this in your life, Desi?
Just don't tease us.
If
Oh,
I knew anybody who was in Club 33, they would be getting a phone call from me immediately. But unfortunately, I guess I don't roll in those kinds of circles, so I won't be getting one. But I wish. It looks amazing.
Boo. Yeah. I mean, for sure. One of the things that again, I'm glad I've set this rule out there for myself that I don't buy them if they're not Disney ones, because Universal has some really cool stuff coming up, and for Epic Universe, and had some cool stuff for Nintendo World out in California. There are people who watch the show who know about my problem, addiction, and they have reached out because the local hockey team in North Carolina actually uses a Zamboni popcorn bucket. They had a different version of this. The Hartford Whalers came to Carolina, sorry, Ron, but and so they had a Whalers version of this, and I had 2 people reach out to me, Mike and Alicia, and reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you need this? You should probably get this." And I'm like, I have to stop somewhere, but there's too much popcorn bucket and too little time. Ron, before we move off of this topic, the Club 33 one, you look at this tiki mug. Are you a tiki mug guy? Is that the problem?
I'd like to be, but like the usual price, like $65 for a glass that's actually difficult to drink out of. I don't go to too many of them. I have a few on the shelf. If I actually ever get my tiki bar built in the backyard, yeah, I'll have a lot more of them, but not as many as I'd like right now.
Okay. That's fair enough. All right. Well, let's move on to the next topic because it's Epic Universe previews happen. So the team members are in the parks now, I believe. I think it started yesterday where they are going in and we're seeing things blow up on Twitter. Thankfully, I haven't seen a lot of spoilers at this point on things, but the one thing that I have seen people go nuts about is the Monsters Unchained attraction that's going to be in the Dark Universe. And so I definitely want to talk to Ron about some of this Universal stuff that's coming for Epic, but I do first want to ask Desi, because I know you've said on this show before, until they bring Back to the Future, you're like, no thank you, Universal. I don't want any Universal stuff in my life. Have you maybe changed your mind with Epic, or are you still on that same page?
Nope, still on the same page.
Boo.
Sorry. That
Oh, okay.
I don't know How to Train Your Dragon. It's like these aren't IPs that are calling to me that I need to go see. Maybe my kids will try to talk me into the Mario thing, but no.
I guess so. And Kev, you guys haven't picked up your AP yet, right? You're not Universal AP.
we are not, and I'm probably going to wait till a year after Epic Universe opens, because I'm just not in the mood to go through all that craziness when it opens.
Are you saying you wouldn't love to be like, shoulder to shoulder with your fellow theme park friends?
I could, but I'd probably be thrown out in an hour.
Okay, that's a thing. I get it. Ron, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about too with Epic, and again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Dark Universe, is that there was a story that we ran that was saying that, well, the hotels for Epic are not at capacity for opening. And so obviously they've got the 3 different hotels, but the demand is lower than expected. I still feel like this is kind of crazy to think about, because the way the ticketing structure is set up, I still think they're trying to set up the ticketing structure with Universal to make it so that they can kind of like call the crowds and also make money. So I assume most people haven't gotten these hotel rooms because of the still trying to wait and see if there's going to be a 1-day pass, or do you think that this is a sign of a problem with Epic, or are you thinking this is just all nonsense? You can't really tell.
It's hard to tell because I will say some things. As like I search the travel agent site sometimes, I don't see those Epic hotels as options when I'm trying to book for somebody through the Universal portal. So that could be part of it. Like they're just not showing availability. Um, I mean, tickets for the 3-night package are like you cannot book the hotel package tickets for opening day anymore. Those are gone. Those have been gone for a while. And when I've tried to modify my own reservation to like say if I could switch hotels, if I do that the last time I tried, it said I would lose my opening day guarantee ticket. So I don't know how it's going to be. It's could be their limit. They're trying not to oversell capacity. Uh, it's it's so hard to tell with all these things because they have other hotel rooms and look like the entire I think capacity of these 3 hotels is still just Cabana Bay's capacity for room numbers. So it's a lower number. It's hard to tell. I mean, um, as soon as they announce the annual pass previews, if I can get a ticket, I'm flying down. I've got my opening day reservation ready. It will be my second time going to a park opening day, and my second time going to a park preview. So I'm really looking forward to this.
What was the first one? What was the first park that you went to
I
opening
did
day?
Animal
Animal
Kingdom
Kingdom.
on opening day, and I did 2 different days of previews for Islands of Adventure, not opening day.
Okay, all right, nice flex. Honestly, I'm really jealous of all the things that are going on here with Epic, and I don't know when I'll get down because part of the problem that I have is I'm the only one in the family that has an AP, and it's ridiculous that I do, but I have one, and so I know Alicia was saying in chat here that they're going to have 1-day admission for AP to be able to buy a ticket, but the way that structure is, it's set up so that you can only buy one per pass. So it's not like as a pass holder, I can go buy tickets for all the people in my family. It's as a pass holder, I can buy one for me, and they can stand outside the gates and just watch as I have an epic time in this park. So,
And those are sold
again,
out for the first 2 weeks, I believe.
yeah,
At least the
but
last time I looked, they were sold out for a little bit.
yeah, that's not too much of a problem for me. I don't care about going there first day, but I do want to go there before everything, before they change their mind about things. Like right now with the team members there, they've got the Vikings from Isle of Burke walking around, and they've got the orb is spinning at the top of the entrance and all that kind of stuff. So I want to go before things change. I don't want to say break, but before things change, I'd like to go in and see the thing early on. But one other question I wanted to ask about is, are we excited about the fact that it says that Epic Universe Celestial Park, which is the main entrance, is going to feature original characters? And I assume when I hear original characters, I think meet and greet sort of a situation that there'll be characters that you can go up to and wait in line and get autographs and hug and things like that, which is funny to me because I've seen it happen where kids go up to a mascot of any kind and give it a hug and don't even know who it is. I work in radio, and we had a Sunny radio station, and we had a guy dressed up as, we had Sunny himself was out there, and the little kids are like coming up and getting pictures and all that, and I'm just like, you have no idea. You have no idea. This is just a person in an outfit that looks like a sun. Desi, before we move on from this one, are your kids the kind that would go, oh, hey, it's Starman from Celestial Park. I need to meet him and get his autograph?
They would meet any character that's dressed up like anything. Like, they don't care if they know who that character is. They like going up to characters and getting hugs and taking pictures. They don't need to know. So, I at least for my kids' age, I think, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. And for the crazy, not Disney adults, I guess Universal adults, who like seeing unique characters, that would be cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. It's just, again, it's sort of that's sort of a weird concept to me because it's like I've always wanted to meet Bluey. Well, here he is. Or she is. I always wanted to
She.
meet. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
but
you.
like nobody in the 80s knew who Figment was, and he came around and everybody loves him.
But you got to ride his ride first. You're right. You're right. Withdrawn. Withdrawn. What do you want to say, Brian, before we move on?
I I wonder if these are going to be more like Citizens of Hollywood because there's a concept to Celestial Park that kind of builds into the rest of the park where, these are some sort of like mythological high tech people that have opened these portals to these other worlds. So they're going to be like citizens of this area, kind of explaining their world to people and things like that. That's what I thought about when I heard the original characters walking around there, not like, just meet and greets of someone in the Luna costume or the Helios costume.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to talk about Potter wands. I made a joke on Twitter about like, hey, can I trade my Potter wand 1.0 in for a 2.0? To which Universal responded to me and was saying, "Oh, this is a different experience." And I was just like, I was joking, but anyway, I'm glad they responded. They are the greatest on social media. I'm a big fan of the stuff they do. They're always so just a little snarky, but a little bit fun, and it's always kind of cool. But these new wands are different in the fact that there's more to them. They're more like going from a Magic Band to a Magic Band Plus. That they have lights on them. They have haptic like response to it, that something is actually happening, and I feel like this is a great evolution. My problem is that means that like you're gonna have to go back and rebuy your Dumbledore wand or any of these other wands to be able to have these new experiences, but the experiences are also themselves much cooler. So I'm gonna say, Kevin, you don't have a wand, I assume.
I do not have a wand. I thought they were
Would
cool. We went into all the vendors and I'm looking at them. Of course, I was looking for who was
Voldemort, I bet.
it? Voldemort. Yeah, I was looking for
I
that
knew
one,
it.
but that was sold out. But I
Why,
like I like the concept of the 2.0 wands that they came out with. I think that sounds kind of fun.
why did I know that you were a Slytherin? Why did I know that that was a thing? That's perfect. Um,
You've known me long enough.
um, Desi, you're gonna have to buy wands for your boys. Is that cool? How many? Like, well, you got four in
No,
your family, so everybody gets one.
no, no,
What?
no.
Wait, how do you?
Zero interest in these wands. Sorry. No.
That can't be right.
I'm not a Harry
I feel
Potter
like
person. I'm sorry.
uh, there
I
was a
tried to
bit
watch
that
the movies. I couldn't get into it.
well, that's insane. But there was a 30 Rock where Jack says to Liz and says, "Hey, um, says I'm going to get you into to Harry Potter world." And she goes, "I'm not just a geek for anything. I like Star Wars." So that's basically you. That's basically how you work.
Me.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
However, I'm guessing that our friend Ron is a little bit of a Potterhead.
Uh, Between this three of us in this house, we have six wands. Four of them are the original when they were like $30 a pop, like
Yeah.
the non-interactive that are just movie replicas. I like the look of those more. But with Andy, we got her about a year ago. She got to pick out her first wand, and she picked it because she liked the color of the box. She didn't even care what wand was inside. She just wanted the orangish box. So we end up with Mad Eye Moody's one for her. And then this last trip, we did the whole thing. You were talking about where you get the free gift for the gift card. You buy a $300 Universal gift card. You get, and I know I'm going to be buying a ton of merch for like opening day and stuff. So I went and did that, and she got James Potter's one because you can pick a free one, but they're like the four that they think they have the most in stock of at the moment. So we have a bunch of those, and I can't. I don't know. I don't get them to work too well with the interactive part. So the interactive thing doesn't appeal to me. I'm hoping maybe with these, the sensors work a little better. If they have haptics, that means they can also feel the motion rather than just having the tip go. So hopefully that'll work a little better. So I'm sure we're probably going to get a new one for the new park, but we'll see.
Okay. I was gonna say like, what do you identify as, Ron? This is really important. I need to know.
I am literally like a 51-49 Gryffindor Slytherin split. Depends on what side of the bed I wake up on, if I'm going to try and be the hero or I'm just going to kill everybody in my path.
That is dark. And you saw Kevin just smile when you said that. He was like, and then Desi's up there going, "Dark side, we have cookies." Okay.
Now, my two
Um,
wands are Neville and Voldemort, so
okay, fair enough. So then let me riddle this question to you, Ron. Is butterbeer apparently is such a big thing that there's a whole butterbeer season that they do? Was not aware of this, but it's for 2 months. Hollywood and Orlando both celebrate butterbeer season with lots of different butterbeer objects, foods, things like that. Are you familiar with this? And if so, are you excited about butterbeer season starting?
haven't been. I like a lot of the. I've had the four major butterbeer things. I've had the ice cream, hot, cold, frozen, all fine. Like the frozen, like the ice cream the best. Hot was good, but you have to. It's Florida, so it's only drinkable 2-3 days out of the year. Um, I'm looking forward to things that are not in butterbeer season, like those butterbeer crepes coming to Ministry of Magic area. But like, yeah, I'll try some more butterbeer things, but I don't think everything has to be butterbeer. Like, there's like the pumpkin juice, and there's other good, and the beers. Like, there's other good stuff in the Harry Potter line. It doesn't all have to be butterbeer.
Okay. And Kevin, have you ever had any kind of Harry Potter butterbeer of any sort?
I have not.
You've never had butterbeer?
Never had butterbeer. Although, I have wanted to try it, but the night that we went to Universal, it was for the Hollywood Horror Nights in Hollywood. And
Okay, gotcha.
we spent more time in lines getting through those uh, haunted houses stuff as opposed to doing other things. So maybe one day.
Okay. All right. Well, I believe that you will get your butter beer, but in the meantime, don't forget to go to Ballast Point next time you're in, because they have real beer, right? Like they have the real deal.
They
Let's
have
move
the real
on
deal.
then. Let's move on then to a. I was very proud of myself for this Mupdate. Get it? Like it's a
That's cute.
Muppet update.
Meep, meep, meep,
See?
meep, meep.
I love it.
Yep, exactly. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I needed. Just a little bit of approval. A couple things. One is obviously Muppet Vision is closing, and so is Mama Melrose, and so is Pizza Rizzo. And so this last trip I ate at Mama Melrose twice. You're welcome.
Wow.
You're welcome. But on the
You
way out,
survived?
shut up. Come on. Honestly, I feel like the bread there is only second to the Hollywood Brown Derby. I'm just gonna say that. But I got I think the veal parm the first. No, not veal parm. The chicken parm the first time, and then I think the steak the second time, and both were good. So I'm a little bit sad to see that go. It's also usually been the kind of place you can get into pretty easily, but again, with it being one of those things that's like glowing away, people are trying to go in and eat it. So it's going to be Harryhausen's. That's exciting. I don't know. I mean, I assume it'll be some sort of Asian fare, but we'll wait and see what that's going to be like. In the meantime, with all of these things closing in May and June, people went nuts the other day for the Pizza Rizzo pin, which apparently is part of a Dining with Disney 12-pin series. And it was probably not broadcast to the people who make the pins that this was closing. And so they made this pin. I was actually looking for this when I was there and went around looking, and I asked people about it, and they were like, oh, I heard they have it at the studios, or I heard it's shown up at a couple resorts, but we don't have it here, which was probably a lie. Because by the time that we saw this article, the article is saying that the lines were insane for this thing. People were lined up. Wherever pins are sold, they were lined up like nobody's business. So you can see people here down Hollywood Boulevard, and then also at Animal Kingdom, lining up for this thing. And it was a lot of 2,500 limited edition 2,500, and the rumor is sold out in like a couple hours. So I assume mostly to eBay resellers that saw the value in this and very quickly. And I asked Allie, I said, hey, if these are still around, can you get me one? She's like, they are not around. But apparently she had seen them and walked right past them. Thanks a lot. So I pulled up on eBay at the time, and they were going for like $150. So, yeah, it was kind of nuts how much that they were going for. So to me, Ron, this says people still like the Muppets. Am I wrong?
I don't think that's the problem. I think it needed to go somewhere, and yes, it is an aging. I mean, I love the show, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but everything else they've done with the characters isn't successful, and you need that lately to draw the crowds in. Like us Gen X, Zennials can only drag our kids in so much that we have the fond memories. Like the youngers don't have that Muppet connection. I think it should have gone to the other side. I'm glad we're getting the Electric Mayhem replacing Aerosmith, who have literally probably been outdated since about 5 minutes after the ride opened. I know they were big at the time because of Armageddon. And I'm hoping this Villains thing is just a test thing, that they're going to bring something over to Villains Land, and then they could use that theater to put Muppets over there and have the Muppets Miniland with all that together. That's my holding out hope.
Yeah, I hope that's the case too, but it doesn't seem to make sense. Before I move on to you, Desi, I do want to say we've got a couple super chats I want to catch up on real quick here, so hang on. There it is. All right, thanks. See, with Shannon, you get the dance. With Desi, you get a little bit of the dance, but also the fireworks. So there we go. That's an awesome thing. The first one is from Care Bear that says, throws change in your general direction. So Care Bear, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thanks for the super chat. Feeling the love. The other one is from our friend Jungle Cruiser, came back around and said the power line, it says power lime, but power line, I assume is what you meant, popcorn bucket, will be for sale all spring. That is true. I did read that as well, and so I'm excited about that there's a possibility to go and buy it outside of that 90s sold out night, because I literally have no idea of any connection, especially now that Kev and Allie have moved out of California. I don't know of anybody who would go and do that. So,
well, we still have connections there, so if you need something.
Yes, I appreciate you. We'll talk after the show. No, I'm just kidding. But we will. Anyway, let's move on to talk about Hong Kong. And we normally don't talk too much about the overseas parks, just because I feel like most of us are probably not going to go to these. Honestly, with my list would go, Desi's like, I'm going. My list would go probably Tokyo first. I know, Desi, you've been there. We'll talk after. And then probably go back to, Disneyland Paris, because I was there near the time when it opened and haven't been back since. And then probably it would be a toss-up between Hong Kong and Shanghai. I've heard bad things about Shanghai. At the same time, Shanghai has some state-of-the-art stuff that we've never seen before. But Hong Kong is like, hold my beer, we got stuff. Everybody who's been there has said it is a beautiful park that is very charming. I would still like to go someday, but they've announced for their 20th anniversary that they're going to be embarking on a major expansion for Pixar and Marvel. Now, for the Pixar thing, they're talking about an entertainment expansion in an area that I think was originally designed to be part of, or to be a sort of a Toy Story Mania kind of a thing. And then in Marvel, they have a themed area that they're expanding. Also, they have a parade that they're doing, and they announced a little bit of the parade floats. They've got a new Casita float, which is very cool. And the name of the parade is Friendtastic. Normally I'm good with the names, like they have Momentous and, World of Color 1 and Harmonious and all that, but Friendtastic, I don't know. Desi, I need thoughts on this, and are you headed this way anytime soon?
No, not to Hong Kong. I am going back to Disneyland Paris this year, though. But I don't know how I feel about the name Friendtastic either, but you also have to remember that probably the majority of people going there, English is not their first language, so Fantastic probably sounds just fine for them. It's just like, oh, here's an American sounding word we can put together. Kind of like when Kevin said earlier, they just put together two Hawaiian words that don't really mean anything together in the actual Hawaiian language. I feel like that's what they did here in Hong Kong.
Okay. Yeah. So, Kevin, have you been to any of the parks outside of the country, or are you just basically a Disneyland, Disney World kind of guy?
Yeah, it's just been Disneyland, Disney World. We have talked about going
And
to
Alani.
Paris, and I've been to Alani. Yep, mainly to the lagoons because Allie is a fish, being a swim coach and all. So we spend a lot of our time there, and then we'll go to Off the Hook and eat and drink. But we have talked about, and hopefully we'll be able to travel to Paris, and then definitely the Tokyo and Shanghai and Hong Kong. From the friends that have been to the Asian parks, they've all said that we should save Tokyo for last and do Hong Kong and Shanghai before that. So that's probably the way we'll go when we get there.
So interesting. Save for last because it's the best, or like it would ruin you for the rest of them?
I guess it's the best. Yeah, again, this is just based on people who have been there. I have no idea because I haven't been there. You hear, you read stuff about all the different parks. So,
yeah,
I'll go with whatever experienced people have said.
Okay. And here's a look at that other float, though. This is the Casita float, which I think is very cool. And my wife is a huge Encanto fan, but I don't see us headed out that way anytime soon. But then I see this and I go, man, ouch, Tom's wallet, because he's going to have every single one of these stuffed animals, I'm sure, because I know the plush addiction is real. But yeah, they've got a lot of cool things lined up for the 20th anniversary. It would be a neat time to go. I feel like they're going more out for the 20th anniversary than what I've seen happen for Disneyland in its 70th anniversary. And that I could be wrong on that, but it does look like that. Also, these outfits are something out of a 90s fever dream. I feel like I could also be wrong on that one, but these
Hurting my eyes.
Yeah. kind of crazy. All right, last topic of the night is going to be talking about the Blizzard Beach 30th anniversary. I can't believe it has been 30 years since Blizzard Beach has opened up. So it says it opened on April 1st, 1995, and is celebrating its 30th anniversary. And Ron, the crazy part to me about this is they made that whole deal about the water park perk that you get now if you are coming to stay at a Disney resort. The very first day you check in, so you got to, I guess, check in at 7 a.m., but the very first day you check in, you can use the water park as a perk for that one day. And again, the last time I went, we checked in at 8 p.m., so they didn't open the doors for us after that. I feel like I was robbed of my perk. But then these two parks, since COVID, have not been open at the same time. And even with this being the anniversary, they're going to run that from April to May, and then in May they're going to close it so they can open up Typhoon Lagoon again. Any thoughts on do you think they'll ever both operate at the same time again?
I mean, if there's the demand for it, I think they'd be open. I think the demand for the water parks just isn't there. If they're not getting close to selling out, why open the second one? I mean, we've done both over the past few years as they've been open. But yeah, I think that perk was trying to get people there. I think it was, they see that there's a lapse in the crowds. I mean, even Volcano Bay was supposed to be, we're going to be open until 9 every night. Doesn't. I just think maybe the water park concept was where you have slides at the pools and things like that. Why are you paying for the water parks?
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this again, Kevin. In California, they don't have water parks, and I know that you guys have probably visited on occasion, whether coming for a run Disney event or something like that. You guys have visited the water parks in Florida. If there is have you added the water parks and more to your pass? You probably don't know unless Allie told you already what your annual pass entitles you to. But do you have any desire to go to these water parks?
Well, we have. We've been to Typhoon Lagoon a lot. And yes, when I got my annual pass here, Allie did tell me to add the water parks to my annual pass. So yes. But yeah, I mean, they're cool. Like Ron said, they're not selling out. Again, being at Typhoon Lagoon, that back parking lot is always empty. I like it. It's relaxing, do the lazy river, and then I go see Lena at one of the bars and, get our drinks. So.
Interesting. So you found bars in Florida too?
Oh, yeah.
Wait till they hear about this. Wait till they hear about this. I'm telling on you. Desi, we'll bring it home with you. Does your family like going to the water parks?
My kids they know how to swim, but I feel like I am not confident enough with them to be going down some of these big slides as they are. Maybe when they get a little bit older, we will. But we do not have the water parks add-on. I do remember when I was a kid and they had the Disney Beach Party VHS where like Mickey and pals were at Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon. It blew my mind. It made me want to go so bad. That was my favorite VHS. I watched it all the time.
Aw.
I've seen that on YouTube recently, actually.
Nice. All right. That makes sense. All right. Thank you guys for being on. Appreciate it. Again, something we talked about last week is just in case you were wondering, the Festival of the Arts is now over. Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival is open as of Friday. Flower and Garden opens this Wednesday, and Universal's Mardi Gras Festival happens they don't call it a festival, but it basically is the same thing. Ends on March 30th if you guys are looking to get out there for that.
Having Mardi Gras extend through Lent makes no sense, but it's just
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that Halloween Horror Nights have gone into November. It may have just been November 1st, but I'm pretty sure that they've gone into November.
The whole point of Mardi Gras is that you stop partying during Lent.
Have you been to New Orleans?
Yeah, they stop on Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think they closed to clean.
Yeah, you've made too much sense here. If you guys are into movies and TV shows, don't forget to join us on Wednesday nights at Deep in the Plus. We do that at 9 p.m. on this network, WDWNT.TV. If you want to see past reviews, you can go to deepintheplus.com. But also, we did Night at the Museum. Desi and I did that last week. Stephanie and I are doing Snow White, the original animated classic, this week. And then Patrick and I are doing Disney Afternoon. And Desi's coming back for Big. And Ron will be back the week after that to do Pinocchio, because it is the 70th anniversary of the animated classic Pinocchio. It's still funny to me that after 5 years of doing Deep in the Plus and almost 250 reviews, that we still have all of these Disney classics that we haven't done. So yeah, it should be good. And then maybe we can get Kevin on to do Deep in the Plus at some point. I don't know what kind of stuff we would do. Maybe we do a Deep in the Hulu and we find The Omen or something. I don't know, to feed his Slytherin passions.
Are we going to open that up?
The Exorcist works for me. It's fine.
You're like, wait, I have a list of things I want to do. Want to give a big shout out to our wigs. We love our wigs, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Thank you guys for being with us, for being part of the family. We love hanging out with you guys and seeing you guys in chat. We do have a quick post show. I don't know if Kev knows that he signed up for the post show, but we have a quick post show after this. So please, and maybe this cat will join us in the post show. Who knows? But Kev, hopefully you had a good time. Did you have a good time, man?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Okay, all right. I just want to make
Looking forward to doing it again.
Well, good. And, whenever Allie tells you to do it again, right? Is that how that works?
That's how it works. I may be this grumpy-looking guy, but, yeah, she runs my life. And it's okay. Because, you know what?
It's okay?
It's okay because that just relieves me of all responsibility. It's all on her.
So anything you do, Allie is responsible, is what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
I don't like this.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Wigs members that are, hang on for the post show. We'll see you in a little bit. Y'all have a great week. Be safe. Be good to each other. We'll see you next time. Nobody sang. Ain't nobody gonna sing with Ray. Okay, that's how that goes. I know it's a lot of newbies on, so we're good. And Desi, who hates to sing. So